Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beginner.English.Podcast. I'm your host, Oliver. We're so happy you've decided to tune in with us again today for another episode.
And I'm Emma. We're so glad you could join us today. We have a really big topic to talk about, one that we get asked about all the time. It's a question that's on almost every learner's mind at some point.
That's right. Today, we're tackling what is maybe the most common, the most frequent question in the entire world of language learning. It's a question that echoes in classrooms and online forums everywhere.
Yes, people ask this constantly. In classrooms, in online forums, in private lessons, you name it. The question is always the same. How long does it take to learn English? Everyone wants to know the timeline.
And the honest answer, while not very exciting, is the absolute truth. The real answer is, it depends. I know that's not what people want to hear, but it's the reality.
It really does. It depends on so many things: your background, your study habits, your goals. But I think before we can even begin to talk about a timeline, we need to address something even more fundamental. What does it actually mean to learn English?
That's a critical point, Emma. So many people have this idea that learning English means achieving perfection. They think it's about having a flawless accent and never making a single mistake.
Exactly. This idea that you have to speak perfectly, have absolutely no accent, and never ever make mistakes. This mindset can be incredibly stressful and actually hinder your progress. It sets an impossible standard.
It really can. In reality, learning English means something much simpler and more practical. It means people can understand you can understand them, and you can use the language in your everyday life.
Right. It's about practical communication. It means you can talk to people, watch videos, read simple texts, and feel more confident doing so. It's about being functional and comfortable in the language.
And having an accent is completely normal. Making mistakes is normal too. Even native speakers make mistakes every single day. Perfection is a myth, even for us.
All the time. So once we let go of that impossible idea of perfection, we can start to look at what the learning journey actually looks like. For many learners, the path of progress follows a very similar pattern.
Okay, so let's break that path down for our listeners. Let's start at the very beginning. For someone who is just starting out, say in the first 3 to 6 months, what can they realistically expect?
In that early stage, the focus is really on comprehension. Learners usually begin to understand basic English. They start to catch simple words and phrases in conversations, podcasts like this one, or in videos. It's about building that foundational understanding.
So the initial phase is heavily focused on listening and understanding. That makes sense. What comes after that? What's the next step in the journey?
Well, moving forward after about 6 to 12 months of consistent effort, many learners find they can speak simple English. They might speak slowly and make mistakes, but the important thing is that they can express their ideas and communicate effectively. That's a huge step.
That is a huge milestone. To be able to communicate your thoughts is a major achievement. And then, as we look further down the road, say after 1 to 2 years, that's when many learners start to feel genuinely comfortable with the language.
Exactly. They feel comfortable using English in everyday situations, like shopping, traveling, or talking to colleagues. This level of progress is entirely possible, but it absolutely requires consistent, regular practice. That's the key ingredient.
Yes, that regular practice is the key. And speaking of how much practice it might take, there's a fascinating piece of data from the U.S. Foreign Service Institute. They've actually estimated the number of hours required.
Oh, right, the famous big number. The Institute estimates that English learners often need around 600 to 750 hours of dedicated study to reach a strong, proficient level. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
At first glance, a number like 750 hours can feel incredibly daunting. It sounds like an enormous amount of time, and it might even discourage some people from starting.
It certainly does. But the magic happens when you break that large number down into smaller, more manageable pieces. Suddenly, it becomes much less intimidating and a lot more friendly.
Absolutely. For instance, if you study for just 1 hour a day, you can reach that 700-hour mark in about 2 years. That sounds much more achievable, doesn't it?
And even if you can only manage 30 minutes a day, that's perfectly fine. It will take longer to reach the goal, but it still works. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day helps keep your brain connected to the language. These small, consistent habits are incredibly powerful.
They truly are. This brings us to another point. Some people seem to learn English faster than others. It's important to understand that this isn't because they are smarter. It's almost always because of how they approach their learning.
That is such an important distinction. For example, learners who expose themselves to English often by listening, even if they don't understand every word, tend to improve much faster. They get used to the sounds and rhythms of the language.
Similarly, people who take the leap and speak English even when they feel nervous or shy also see faster improvement. They don't wait for the perfect moment when they feel completely confident. They start before they feel ready.
Exactly. They prioritize communication over perfection. This is key. But speaking of feelings, we also need to talk about the emotional journey of learning a language. It can be a real roller coaster with lots of ups and downs.
Oh, absolutely. Some days you'll feel excited, confident, and like you're making huge progress. Then on other days, you might feel tired, confused, and like you've forgotten everything you've learned.
And it's so important for listeners to know that this is completely normal. Learning a language is not a straight upward line. There will always be good days and bad days. The most important thing is to keep going, even on those difficult days.
I love this analogy. Learning English is a lot like going to the gym. It's a comparison that really helps put things into perspective.
It's a perfect one, so insightful.
Exactly, right? You don't go to the gym once and expect to be strong. You need many small, consistent visits over a long period. Some days you feel the progress, and other days you feel like you're not getting anywhere.
But even on those days when you feel nothing, your body is still changing and getting stronger. The exact same thing happens with English. One day, out of nowhere, you'll suddenly understand a full sentence in a movie or a podcast, and it might completely surprise you.
That moment of sudden understanding is so incredibly important. It's the proof that learning is happening in the background even when you don't actively feel it. It's a sign that your brain is making new connections.
And that leads to another really powerful idea that I want to share. You cannot do something badly forever. It's just not possible.
I love that concept. If you speak English many, many times, your brain will learn and adapt. It has no choice. If you listen every day, your ears will learn to distinguish sounds. If you read simple text regularly, your vocabulary will naturally grow.
The act of practicing naturally changes and improves your skills. Your English gets better simply because you are using it. It really is that simple and that profound.
So, let's circle back and finally answer that big question. How long does it really take to learn English? The truth is that it usually takes longer than people hope it will.
But it also takes much, much shorter than people fear it will. The single biggest mistake anyone can make on this journey is simply waiting.
Yes, waiting to feel ready, waiting for the perfect time to start, waiting to feel confident before you even begin. This waiting is the enemy of progress.
But here's the secret. Confidence comes from practice. It doesn't come before it. You have to take the action first, and then the confidence will follow. It's not the other way around.
So, Emma, after all this discussion, what is the main takeaway for our listeners?
The single most important takeaway is this. The best moment to start learning English is right now, today. Not next week, not next month. Today.
And remember, even just a few minutes is enough to get started. One small step forward is infinitely better than taking no step at all. Don't underestimate the power of starting small.
And finally, always remember that learning English is not a race, it is a long, steady walk. You just need to keep moving forward, step by step. For everyone listening, if you are learning English right now, you are already on the path. You are already walking.
That's a beautiful and perfect way to end it. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Beginner English Podcast. We hope you found it helpful.
We'll be back with another episode for you soon. Until then, keep practicing. Bye, everyone.